Hello guys, this is Max1015 and welcome to our first episode in our brand new series, Let's Play Rift. Now this is a brilliant game and it has recently gone free to play, so it's very highly polished considering it was a previous pay to play, so you definitely get a high quality game for basically the price of nothing. Anyway, as you can see, this is my normal character, Tyson Mage. I just purely created him to sort of play the game, see how it was, see if I liked it, and so far I've really enjoyed it. It's a brilliant game and it's been very well made. But anyway, let's go ahead and create our new character, who will obviously feature in our new series. Now here we have two factions, which you get to choose from at the start of the game. On one side you have the Deviants, who are sort of, I wouldn't say the evil side, but the more sort of machine-based, possibly steampunk themed side, and they have, as it says, Deviants have taken fate into their own hands, turning away from the Vigil to pursue their own plans. They've harnessed the power of the planes to fuel magical technologies for the defense of Telaria. Now, the Vigil are the gods of the worlds of Telaria, and Telaria is obviously the lands that Rift is based in. So they've obviously turned away from the gods and have decided to build machines to protect them, because the whole point of Rift is it's basically where the whole land of Telaria is being invaded by these planes of the elements, which are called rifts basically, as per the namesake. But in each of these rifts there's a different type of element. There's fire, water, wind, earth, and those are the four main elements. But then there's also death and life, and the whole point is you are an ascended who has been reborn to protect Lara from the coming future. But that's only if you play as the Guardians. If you play as the Deviants, you are basically sent back in time through one of their portals to protect the future from the coming destruction of the planes. Anyway, and talking of the Guardians, here they are. It says, the Guardians are the chosen of the gods, brought back from death to save the world from the corruption of the dragons. Each Guardian has a great destiny to become a celestial hero, I believe that says. Anyway, now these guys are sort of your god worshipping, I wouldn't say nature loving, but they're definitely more natural and more magical side of the two factions. But anyway, for our character we are going to be the Guardians. Now here you'll see we have three races to choose from. You have basically the High Elves, the Mathosians, which are basically just humans, and then of course the Dwarves, which look quite funny as well. And here's the female version, which looks pretty weird, to be honest. Anyway, for our character, I'm sort of mulling between the idea of a Malthusian male or a High Elf male, because I think the High Elves look pretty cool, and considering our main character is going to be a mage, I was thinking High Elf is probably best. Now, as you'll see, each race has a description about it. It says, the oldest races of Telaria, the High Elves are the protectors of the land. Wise and skilled, their tranquil nature master ruthless dedication to the gods. And that's the basic description of their race. And then of course each race has their own racial abilities. The High Elves get angelic flight, which basically allows them just to fly forward into a selected area, but it can't be used in combat or anything. It's not like an advantage, it's just a movement boost. And then of course the Grace of the Forest, which increases life resistance by 20. Let's have a look at the other races and their abilities. Now here we have the Motivational Roar, and this increases movement speeds. It's basically just a sort of speed buff, and once again it can't be used in combat, it's just purely for movement. And then of course you have the Legacy of the Shade, which is death resistance increased by 20. Each race has their own increased resistance against a certain plane type or an element type. And then the Dwarves have the Dwarven Breakfast, which restores 8% health and mana each second over 13 seconds. It's like a meal ability where you just eat and you regain all your health and mana, but once again it can't be used in combat, so it's just purely outside of combat. And then there's the Miracle of Hammer Kneel, which is water resistance increased by 20. Now, as you'll have noticed, each of the active abilities that the races have, which is the top one here, you can only use outside of combat, and the reason they've done that is so no race has any particular advantage over any other in combat, which I think is quite good and a good sort of way of including racial abilities without making one side to outclass the other, or one race better than the other. Anyway, down here we also have gear preview, which you'll see comes in handy in our next slide. And there's low level, mid level, and high level. Let's have a quick look at high level, and this is the sort of gear that you can expect towards the end of the game. And then of course you have mid level, which is what you can expect during sort of mid level range. But anyway, let's go on, and now you have your sort of class selection screen. But seriously guys, this is the brilliant thing about Rift. Even though there's only 4 classes to start off with, within each class there are something like 10 different subclasses. It's an insane amount of detail, and each class, like say I wanted to be a warrior, within the warrior there is a subclass which actually allows you to be sort of a mage. It allows you to cast spells and buffs and damaging abilities, which is really, really useful because it basically just allows you to play, allows you to customize your character to allow you to play the exact sort of character that you want, the exact type of gameplay that you'd like in MMOs, which is a really, really good feature, I believe. Anyway, right now we have the warriors, and it says warriors are frontline fighters who wear plate armor to protect themselves in battle. So it also gives you a short description, but also tells you what sort of armor they use, and then it shows you the type of roles that they can be. They can be tank, damage, or support. Here we have the cleric. It says clerics are spiritual experts who wear chainmail and wield divine power. Now, of course, once again, you have the roles they could be. They could either be a healer and tank, which sort of surprised me actually, because normally in traditional MMOs, cleric or healers cannot be tanks and are just mainly healers. But I think it's really nice that they've changed it in Rift so you can actually be a tank. And then mages. It says mages are spellcasters whose only defences are the cloth armour and potent magic. And of course, they can be damage, healer, or support, which sort of makes sense because a cleric, I guess, could be tank since they wear chainmail, but a mage just doesn't really suit that role, so they have tried to keep slightly within the sort of boundaries and not become completely wacky, but they have definitely increased flexibility within the classes, so it is a very good style of sort of character customization, creating your own character. But anyway, here we have rogues, and rogues are skirmishers in light leather, excelling in both melee and ranged combat, and as you can see, they could be damage, tank, or support. Now, as you can see down here, we have gear preview again, so you can see the high level gear preview, which we'll get later in the game. Now, I have been thinking about the type of class I want to show you guys, and the one that I sort of noticed had the most sort of variety, I guess, within it is definitely the mage. I know it's quite sort of not really traditional type to play in an MMO. Everyone seems to go for warriors or rogues, but I feel that the mage, you can be healers, you can also be a melee user. They've added a recent soul, and by the way, souls are what they call the different subclasses, they call them souls, but they've added a recent soul which is called Harvester, which allows you to use melee weapons, which is really, really useful and sort of adds sort of to the diversity of the subclasses within the game, which I think is really, really nice, and I think that's why we're going to choose the mage, because there's such different types of gameplay and sort of styles which you can do just by being this class. Anyway, we'll just click next and go on to, this is sort of the further choosing of your class. This will it's got sort of set souls that you can use, because within each sort of class you can choose 3 soul trees or 3 souls, which then have soul trees, and then you can add points into each. So basically you get 3 souls out of sort of the 10 available, and then use that to create your own unique sort of class, basically, which is a really, really nice system. And here, during the character customization, it literally just gives you these 5 options, which then allow you to, well, it basically just gives you your first 3 souls straight off and straight away. Here we have the Grave Lord, and it says an offensive mage who utilizes undead pets and death magic to destroy their enemies. And then we have the Sage, a healing mage who also heals their allies by dealing damage to their enemies. This build generally takes longer in solo fights, but has increased survivability and excels in combat, group combat rather. And then of course you have the Pyro Elementalist, who's an offensive mage who utilizes powerful elemental pets and the powers of the elements to destroy their enemies. And as you can see, this is sort of a pet-based class. You can have your own elemental warriors following you around. And then we have Corruptor, who's an offensive mage who mixes death and fire magics to destroy their foes piece by piece. So it sort of sounds like they're sort of condition afflictor, so they can put bleeding effects, dot effects on their enemies to sort of slowly decrease their health until they defeat them. and they do that through the elements of death and fire. And then of course here we have Spellblade, who is a melee mage who prefers fighting the enemies face to face. And this is the new sort of, well, this sort of set or, includes the new Soul Harvester. That's what I'm talking about, but unfortunately you can't unlock it right now. We will most likely get that later on in the game. Now so far I'm actually not quite sure what to choose for this one. I haven't gone actually this far, because I was thinking Gravelord, but I'm kind of tempted to go for possibly a Pyromentalist or a Sage, because a Sage is very useful because obviously you can heal yourself, but just in the pure interest of it seems quite cool to do this. I think I'll go with Gravelord because it just seems like a much cooler character to do or to use, because there's so much you can do with it and you get your own awesome looking pets, as you can see back there. I'm just going to try something, because I set it to high gear, and as you saw there was that pet behind me, so I'm just going to set it to low gear and see if this changes anything. And no, it doesn't, unfortunately. I was going to see if this changed at all, because I have seen in my experience of the game that some people are running around with different sort of corrupted creatures or zombies following them, so I was wondering if sort of it changes depending on your level. But anyway, now we are actually into the proper character customization, which I have to say is very extensive. It's very, very cool. But I have had a chance to go through it and decide on sort of what I want, because otherwise we'd be here for hours. I mean, just look at this sort of variety. You have the sort of face features that you wanted. You can get exactly right using this sort of face shape feature, which allows you to shorten your face, to broaden it, and then to sort of narrow it. And then of course you have eye colours, the scale, the rotation, the eyebrows, and of course you've got all the same for all your other facial features. And you've got all the colour for your hair, your hairstyles, the markings. You can get tattoos and features, and then of course you've got the skin colour, and you've got different presets. No, we're not actually going to do that. But anyway, as I said, there's a huge variety in this game. But so I am going to go with, because I want to make him look quite sort of elfy, but not like too ridiculously elfy. There we go. That looks like quite a good face, I think. Obviously we'll change the nose and the ears, because the ears look pretty big, to be honest with you. Oh, like stick out the side of his head by a mile. Anyway, the colour of eyes, I want something that sort of stands out a little bit, but not too much, because you want something that you can actually see, that doesn't just like blend in with the white of your pupils, because then it just looks like you're blind or something. But anyway, the scale, you can decrease this or make them bigger. I think we'll make them as big as possible because it just looks much better. And then rotation, of course you can increase them like that. I think we'll just sort of have a sort of middle way, or almost middle way. And then eyebrows, I think we don't have any eyebrows. No, we don't have any eyebrows. That's got a bit weird. But let's just go through. I just want to have like sort of normal eyebrows. Actually, they're actually pretty cool, to be honest, even though they're not normal looking eyebrows. They look pretty good, so I think we'll go with those. And now the nose size, I think, yeah, we'll just have it sort of, maybe not the smallest, but sort of, yeah, that's fine. Just, and then of course the tilt, we want to just sort of normal. Yeah, there we go. That's a pretty normal looking nose, I think, kind of. And then for the mouth, I think it's sort of fine as it is, to be honest. And ears. Now this is the bit that I want to change because it does look pretty weird right now. I want to make them a little bit smaller and make them more weird. I want to make them sort of like tilt them more upright, so they're not sticking out at like 90 degrees from his head, because that just looks weird. But I guess we'll just go like that a little bit. There we go. I think that's okay. Obviously we'll change the skin colour because he looks like really pale right now. He's got some more vitamin D. And I sort of decided that I wanted sort of blonde colour in the hair, and I believe I found a hair type which I was going to use. If I can find, no, that's definitely not it. Wow. Let me find it quickly, because as you can tell there are lots of options here in terms of character customization and sort of different styles that you want. And you've got the curtain haircut there, and I believe we might go for one of these sort of styles. Possibly not that, that's a bit weird. Yeah, I think we'll have to go for this one, because this one seems to look the most normal, to be honest. I know it looks a bit strange, but then again it is for elves, it's not the most normal of styles. But now here we go. Now this is onto the markings, which are basically the sort of facial tattoos that you can get. As you can see, we've got these ones under our eyebrows, which look pretty cool. Now this one here is the one that I want to go for. I know you can't really see it that well, considering the hair's covering it, but I think it looks pretty cool. And you don't want like a massively obvious tattoo, because then They look pretty odd. But anyway, I think that colour looks okay. Sort of stands out a bit, but it's not too bright. I think they've deliberately done that because none of these colours make it stand out. Like even the yellow sort of colours, they're quite faint, and they've deliberately done that so it's not ridiculously obvious. Because otherwise it just makes it look kind of stupid. Now we've of course got the skin colour. We're just going to try and make him look like he actually has blood flowing through him. Yeah, I guess that's okay for an elf. And height, right now we are literally like a dwarf elf. I think we'll just guess average height, just above average height, so at least we won't be dwarfed by everyone else. And then of course you have these presets, which is like random settings or pre-made settings. And finally, our final stage in creating our new character is choosing a name. Now I have thought about this, and I'd like to keep in all my sort of let's plays to have like a similar character name. And I was thinking, I quite like the name Tyson because it sounds sort of quite cool and exciting, but then also sort of include aspects of the mage, so possibly Shadow Mage. Can I do that? Yes, we can. Look at that. Let's try and make. Yeah, there we go. Wow. Okay. Normally in games they don't allow that bigger name, but in this one they do, which is really, really nice. And here we go. This is our new character, Tyson Shadow Mage. He is a sort of mage who is on the sort of necromancy side of things. And look at him. I think he looks pretty cool right now. And we shall head on into the game. Oh, no spaces allowed in the name. Okay, well then I guess we'll just have a really weird and long name. Okay, there we go. And now we're creating this new character. And now I believe we are going to be... here's a cutscene.
Would have sacrificed the world to Regulus the Destroyer. The faithful rebelled against his heresy. We overthrew the tyrant and put his armies to the sword. Defeated in battle, he turns to the machines of the Defiance. Their devices drew upon the power of the dragon, a power they could not control. This is the day the rifts came. This is the day we died. But the gods of the Vigil intervened. Their messengers went among the fallen, and descended the worthy, not for their virtue, but for their might. In you, they placed their faith, their hope, and their power. You are our salvation. You are a guardian.
Wow, now that was definitely a dramatic cutscene right there. Kind of a bit weird with all the bodies, kind of a bit gross, but definitely dramatic. And that sort of gives you an idea of why you've been chosen, because basically you died and now you've been resurrected, and here we are in the world of Telaria. Basically you were resurrected to sort of now fight the Defiance and fight Regulus, who basically is the god or the dragon of death. But here we are. This is the world of... Whoops, let's not stare at the angel's butt. But this is sort of the starting area for new Rift players, and I think it looks really, really cool. The monument looks amazing. And I believe they changed quite a lot in the tutorial. It changed a lot since it first released. But anyway, as you can see here, this is a symbol here which, as you can see, says mail. So we're just quickly going to go to our mail post, and these exist all around the world, and you can also buy a personal one which you can just use wherever you are. Now this is a gift that you get when you first start the game, and it says to your future wealth, and it says Moneybags, a boggling famous among his kind for his extreme wealth, was rumoured to have acquired much of his coin by possessing a lost artifact, a magical purse that granted the wearer the ability to divine the locations of coins that others could not. Now this power is also yours. So it basically just gives you this trinket which increases your looting gain from monsters by 10%, which is really, really useful, and it's just a nice way to sort of introduce you to the game and give you a nice piece of equipment that will help you. Let's just quickly equip that, and as you can see I brought up my bags by pressing B on my keypad, and now here we go. Also, one thing you want to actually do at the start of the game before we go and talk to this vigil, and I'm sorry, like can you just ignore that? I don't know why it keeps showing up there. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that at the start of the game, you'll notice down here on this hotbar we have all these abilities, but you will want to change some of them because not all of them have been displayed. Like right now we have, as you can see, Void Bolt isn't on here. We've only got Plague Bolt and Life Leech. So right now we want to put down Void Bolt and Life Leech. I will walk you through those different abilities once we actually start using them, and of course we've already got Plague Bolt. But you'll see here we have our Summon Lesser Skeletal Zealot, which allows us to summon our pet, which you saw in our character creation screen. And here we have another spell which has not been put in place on our hotbar. So you'll just need to sort that out. I noticed that when I first started playing the game. But anyway, and you'll see here we have some which we may not want to use. Like we have Angelic Flight, which will be useful for now because it will allow us to sort of speed things up and allow us to fly forward when we're walking around the world of Telaria. But now there's also Drinking Water, which we don't need right now because we're in starting zone. It's not like we're going to fall low on health. But also we have this Transmogrify, which transforms an enemy into a harmless squirrel for 30 seconds or until damaged, and can only affect one enemy. And this is a Dominator ability. And as you'll see, these are the 3 souls that have been chosen for us by choosing our Deathwalker, I believe it was called, or something else, Deathwalker role. And these are the 3 ones selected. Now you can sort of get a better idea of your soul selection by clicking N on your keypad, and that will bring up your soul tree. And as you can see, it has sort of a tutorial here telling you what all these things are. But basically, I'll just explain it to you quickly. It's showing me to click on this here, As you can see down the bottom, it says points remaining, and you can add these points gradually to this tree here. But it's quite clever actually because you have such freedom to choose which abilities you want from this hot tree, sort of soul tree here. Then it really creates diversity, and you can definitely sort of improve on the souls that you like over others. But also one thing that you'll sort of notice, I'll just add that there for now, and that says improved Void Bolt reduces the casting time of your Void Bolt spell by 8% and its mana cost by 10%, which is really, really useful. But as you'll see down here, you also have sort of another soul tree, which is a long chain, and they all have numbers over them. Like Dark Touch here has 2 over them, and these are your special abilities or your spells in our case, since we're a mage, and these will unlock as you put points into your soul tree. Like here we have 1 point spent in our soul tree here through this, and when we get 2 we will unlock Dark Touch. So it's quite useful. So the more points you put into your soul tree, the more abilities you will unlock for that class or subclass, which I think is really nice. And also we shall rename our class, which right now is the Grave Lord set, but you can rename it, and I think we are just going to simply call it the Grave Lord for now. And it's quite good to do this because later on when you get more rolls, as you can see here, rolls, we have no extra ones, we've only got the Grave Lord. As you get more and more of them, you will eventually need to name them so you can identify them quickly, because you literally can just like activate them whenever you want. You can literally just switch between the 3 souls that you have equipped. So basically you're switching classes in some respect, which is really, really good feature of the game. But anyway, we're going to save and exit, so we save those points into the soul tree, which you immediately get at the start of the game. And anyway, this is our Sanctuary Warden, which is the Ascended, the Angel of the Vigil, who made us an Ascended, who resurrected us and has now brought us to this land of Telaria, which I believe is under attack by the Plane of Death. So anyway, let's speak to her because she has a quest for us. And it's called Ascended Allies, and it says, the gods of the Vigil have returned you to life, Tyson Shadow Mage. They restored your body to the Battle of Regulos and his servant King Andarax. I believe that's how you say it, don't quote me on that, it's quite a complicated name, okay? The Vigil brought back others to fight by your side, but you alone must embody the righteous fury of the gods. And then of course each of the quests will have this description here, but then also the summary, just if you want to read that and sort of speed up your reading time. But it says, speak with Thane Doraine outside the sanctuary to begin your holy crusade. Now I'm just going to mention, for the remainder of this series and all other series, do not complain if I get names wrong, because I will get names wrong. I do not know how to pronounce these weird names, especially in Rift. There are some very imaginative names out there. But anyway, our objective is to speak to Fane Doran. Let's just call it Doran, because I don't want it rhyming, that's weird. So Fane Doran, and you see we'll get a reward of 450 XP and 12 silver, and we'll accept that. And as you can see, it just came up saying quests accepted. Now it says we have discovered Hallowed Hill, and now this is Rift. This is not the open world, this is the tutorial area, and as you can see right now we are by a church with a graveyard, and we are surrounded by Ashen Defilers, which are basically sort of zombies, I guess, or resurrected people. But anyway, this is the person we need to talk to, Fane Doran. So there's and this icon here means that there's like a quest hand in, which is really useful, and it says Ascended Allies. Ascension has removed my sight, but I can see farther, deeper than before. With my new vision, I see that you are the Vigil's chosen mage. Let us begin to cleanse these lands of Andrexus's corruption. That's very interesting. Okay, now we're just going to finish that. We've got some XP and some gold. And now this is the quest that we will be given to sort of introduce us into combat. And this is called Avenging Hand. And it says, in my life before the Ascension, I never imagined that the God's touch could be so powerful, so uplifting. But I see their power in your heart as well. Slay the demons that possess the people of Malthosia, and show Andraxis that the Vigil guides your hand. And then summary, it says Fane Doran wants you to kill Ashen Defilers near the Sanctuary in Hallowed Hill. And then as you can see, our objective is to kill Ashen Defilers, 4 of them, and our reward will be lesser healing potion plus some XP and gold, which is always useful. Now I think for now we will quickly complete this quest and introduce you to combat before ending or wrapping up this episode, because we have done quite a lot in it. For now I will show you the how combat works in this game. Okay, for one, let's just quickly summon our pet, because he's going to serve as our tank, which is sort of the basis for this role. You will need like a pet to defend you, because as you know, mages aren't the most tankable of all classes. And of course it comes up with a tip here showing you how to do combat in mages. And wow, someone just took our mob. We will just quickly run across here and whoa, oh, I've not noticed this before. That's disgusting. Ew. Okay, well, anyway, as you can see here, we have our lesser skeletal zealots, and someone is taking our kills again. Okay, I'm just going to hurry up and attack someone before they take all the mobs. But anyway, as you can see, we have our abilities down here, and we will activate Plague Bolt, which says it deals 33 to 37 death damage. It says damage is increased by 10% per stack of Deathly Calling on the enemy. Now, I'm not exactly sure where Deathly Calling comes from. I think it's from here. I think it's from Plague Bolt itself. But anyway, as you can see, our lesser skeletal zealot is defending us and acting as our tank. And as you can see, we have freed this Malthusian spirit, and we'll need to continue to do so for 3 others. Now, our second ability here is Void Bolt, which literally is just deals 50 to 55 death magic, and that doesn't really have any special abilities or anything. And now we have Life Leech, which deals 71 death damage over 10 seconds, healing the mage for 10% of the damage done. So it's sort of like a Life Leech, or as it says, it's called Life Leech, but it's sort of like a leeching skill, and gives you back some of the health that you sap off the enemy, which is quite useful. This is what sort of the whole necromancy side of the mage is about. It's sort of like sapping energy from your opponent, and also having these pets which will defend you and tank for you. And anyway, our last ability is called Neural Prod, and it's basically just an electric ability, which is it says cast time is instant, and it deals 33 to 37 air damage, and it's just a one-time sort of instant attack. And as you can see, there we go, we did it. And we will literally just sort of finish up killing these creatures, these Ashen Defilers. But yeah, I think the combat in this game, even though it is like tab target, and some would say, oh, you know, it's not really like very skillful or hard to do. Yes, it's not at all. It is just literally tap and sort of target sort of thing. There's no sort of challenge in sort of where your attacks have to go, but that doesn't make it like any worse. I think that it works for this game, and the effects themselves are brilliant. The spell effects, especially later on in the game, are really unique and really good. But anyway, as you can see, these corpses have dropped loot, and as indicated by when our mouse goes over them, it comes up with the golden pouch bag. and now you have to like right click them and it'll bring up your loot menu, and as you can see we get 2 candlestocks which you can literally just sell. And this is one good thing about the game. Instead of having to like loot each corpse or defeated enemy individually, if they're close to each other and you loot one, it will include all the loot from both corpses in one loot window, which is really nice and speeds up the whole process of looting. But as you can see, we have now completed Avenging Hand, and we now have to return to Duran to hand in our quest, which is really good, and then we'll probably have to wrap it up here. But anyway, as you can see, she says, by freeing the souls of those people, you have bolstered the glory of the vigil while diminishing King Andraxus's undead horde. You are truly the vigil's chosen, Tyson Shadow Mage, and for that we get a lesser healing potion and some, of course, some XP and gold. Oh, and look at that, we leveled up! Wow, already. Well, obviously this is to be expected considering this is just a tutorial area, and we have automatically been forced to open up our soul tree, and now this is sort of tutorial of adding points into our soul tree, so we can add 1 more point into our improved vault. And as you will see, we have now put 2 points into the warlock soul, and we have now gained the ability Dark Touch. This is what I was talking about. The more points you put in here, the more points you get out on the soul tree below. But anyway, now we'll save and exit, and this is quite one useful thing about Rift. Once you have unlocked ability, you don't have to go scrolling through your spellbook or your ability bar. You literally, it comes up with new ability shortcut, and you literally just click it and drag it down, or you can just cancel it if you don't want to add it to your hotbar. It's really useful. And anyway, now we are going to pick up this quest and probably wrap it up here, but this one is called Steel Reckoning. It says, in the Battle of the Theodore Fields, I'll just go with Theodore Fields, we were near victory. Then Draxus opened up a death rift, and all of Malthosia became exposed to the corruption of Regulos, the Dragon of Extinction. We need to take the fight to Adraxis and end his terror, but first we need cold steel. Recover swords from the town below and deliver them to Shyla Starheath. And then it says the summary is, Fane Doraine wants you to collect imbued swords in Hallowed Hill. Once complete, deliver them to Shyla Starheath at Thorntick's Fountain. Okay, there we go. And of course the objective is just collect these swords, and we will gain new staff, which is very interesting. And also, if you hold control and click over an item, it will then come up with a preview and show you what it looks like, and doesn't look a whole lot better than the one we have right now. But trust me, the staffs and equipment in this game get a lot better later on. But anyway, I think we will have to wrap it up here. So thank you very much for joining us in our first episode of our new Let's Play Rift series. I just want to take this time to talk a little bit about my channel. Now that I finally have the software that I need to record these videos properly, I just want to let you guys know that I will be coming up with the schedule, which I will keep to weekly, and so I'll be posting videos hopefully every day. Obviously sometimes I will have a break on certain days, but as soon as I've come up with a schedule, I'll let you guys know, so you know exactly what videos you'll get when and which ones I'll be posting. But anyway, I guess all that's left is to say thank you very much for joining us in this video. I hope you are having a great week wherever you are in the world. I hope to see you in the next episode of our Let's Play Rift, and also any other episodes that I produce later on. But this is us saying take care and goodbye.